Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Sunday morning Bhagavad Gita sessions. We've been discussing various topics over last couple of years and we'll continue doing so. So the topic for today is faith in wrong conceptions, faith, misplaced faith in short. And we'll discuss, it will be a hope to it to be a participative session. So expect all of you to contribute to this particular theme of this particular topic. It's a very commonsensical topic. A lot of us face this topic in past, in today, and we'll continue to see it all around us. So it will be easy for us to pick it up for discussion. So so we will begin as usual with a little recap. And in the recap, we are looking at some key verses from previous chapters. So the Bhagavad Gita clearly has three sections. Broadly, it can be divided into three sections. The first section is first six chapters of Bhagavad Gita, 1 to 6, which takes a devotee, a seeker, from karma to bhakti. And it concludes with with Krishna saying that yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam samayukto tamamata. In the 47th verse of 6th chapter, Krishna confirms that amongst all yogis, the one who worship me with shraddha is the greatest among all yogis. And he concludes this and immediately begins the section of Maya Sakta Manapartha with 7th chapter and goes on till 12th chapter, describing in full uh, in complete way the bhakti yoga, the glorious bhakti yoga, the glories of bhakti, the what happens when you take up the process of bhakti, and how it is great, how it is easy, how it is beneficial, and how it can be completed in very easy in one lifetime itself. Prabhupada give very elaborate explanations to this, and he keep contrasting bhakti with other processes of devotional service, such as demigod worship, such as impersonal worship, such as uh, within impersonal Mayavad and versus Brahmavad, and so on and so forth. So many other means Krishna keeps topics, themes Krishna keeps bringing up and contrast it with bhakti. And every time he concludes that bhakti is supreme, bhakti is superior, bhakti is easy to follow, bhakti is recommended to follow. Please follow, please follow, please follow. Constantly, Krishna is concluding all discussions. He kahin se bhi shuru hota hai discussion, he brings it up to the point saying that bhakti is how bhakti is supreme, bhakti yoga, how that can be followed, and my bhakti is supreme, worshipping me is supreme. He's not the खुद को बढ़ावा नहीं दे रहे. He just stating facts, and he not only speak facts but he demonstrate those facts in the 11th chapter when he demonstrate Virat Rupa, where with 1,000 heads and 1,000 arms, and uh, the past, present and future, everything he manifest, all the demigods he manifest within his body, all the Kaurava army, Pandava army present on the battlefield, everyone's death is written. How it is written, he show it in the form of, in that particular form of Virata Rupa, and conclusively bring Arjuna to a point that worshipping Krishna is the only available option, and that is the best available option amongst all options that one may want to consider. But Arjuna, after getting convinced about the fact that Krishna is supreme and worshipping Krishna is the goal of life, should be taken up during one's lifetime. The only activity worthy of doing during one's lifetime is taking up Krishna, worshipping Krishna, Krishna consciousness, and despite of having concluded with this fact for the benefit of Gyanis and Mayavadis, he brings up the topic of Jnana, And that's how the discussion in the 13th chapter begins, where Krishna Arjuna asks questions about various complex topics of complex conceptions that were prevailing at that point of time, about Purusha, about Prakriti, about Kshetra, about Kshetrajna, about Geya and Geya Gamyam. That what is the ultimate objective of learning any knowledge. And Krishna concludes this section by this beautiful verse: पुरुषा प्रकृति सोहि भूनते प्रकृति जागुणान कारण गुण संगोस्य सद असत योनि जन्मसु. So if you look backwards at this particular verse, sat asat yoni janmasu, that taking birth in lower and higher species of life, various species of life, that is the problem statement. Prabhupada writes in the purport of this verse that due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometime as demigod, as a man, as a beast, bird, worm, aquatic, saintly man, or as a bug. This is going on. So this is our problem statement. Our problem statement is not that I don't have a job, or I don't have a spouse, or I'm married but I don't have kids, I don't think I have sufficient money for my retirement, I don't have enough money to send my child to America or to some country for higher education. That is not my problem. My problem is I'm caught up in the repeated cycle of birth and death from almost eternity, and I don't even remember when I started this process. And so this is my problem, and I'm forced in this particular problem, I'm forced to change body. uh, and sometimes I'm given a higher body, sometimes I'm given lower body, or sometimes I'm kept at the same level. However, against my desire, against my wish, against my liking, I'm forced into the bodies of various living entities. I'm the soul. I know that. I hope everyone is convinced about the fact that we are souls, and as a soul, we are pushed into the various bodies of and forced to take birth and forced to live a particular life and then give up that body and take up another body, and the whole process is extremely painful. Getting into the womb of a new mother, who could be a fish, who could be a bird, who could be a animal, who could be an animal, who could be a human, who could be a beast, or who could be even a demigod. But wherever I am taking birth, I am going through enormous amount of pain, even at the time of birth, during the lifetime, and also at the end of my life. And again, since I'm not purifying my life, I get pushed into another womb of another mother, and perpetually this has been going on. Now this is our problem statement, this is our real problem. What do we do about it? Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another, because he has material desire since time immemorial. Now this is important statement. We all have, what is the driving force behind taking repeated birth is the material desire. And since when we have these material desires, various desires we have to do, we have various plans, various desires, unlimited desires, unlimited plans to enjoy matter, or the people made up of that matter, the bungalow made up of that matter, the vacation which is in there in the material world, earn a lot of money which is nothing but matter, open various bank accounts, that is also material, win prestige and fame amongst my community, that is also material. So all these desires are there from time immemorial. We don't even know since when we have been cultivating these desires and acting on those desires, because of which we are given repeated births. But he has to change that conception. That change can be affected only by hearing from authoritative sources. And so this is what will be recommended as a solution in the 13th chapter, where Krishna says that Shruti Anyebhya Upasate, that not only just hear, but hear, contemplate, understand it, and then act on it. Act on it means do what is been told to do. Now, if one does that, then Shruti Parayanaha, Tarantyeva Mrityu Shruti Parayanaha. Tarantyeva Mrityum Shruti Parayanaha. By hearing, by taking up the process of bhakti, simply by hearing, one will cross over mrityu, the cycle of birth, becoming a Shruti Parayanaha, taking shelter of Shruti. Shruti is hearing. Simply by taking shelter of hearing from scriptures, from devotees, one can transcend, one can cross over the cycle of birth. Now, this is the only solution that is available. So take up hear from the scriptures, from the authorities, from devotees, and act on what you hear. Both are necessary. If you see uh, Shrutya Anyebhya Upasate. So Shrutya and Upasate, these are underlined words that not only just hear and then forget. एक कान से सुनो दूसरे कान से निकाल दो. That is not recommended. Krishna expect you to hear attentively and upasate, act on the knowledge, because what will be told to you if you hear Bhagavad Gita from authorities? What that authority will speak with you? What you will read in Bhagavad Gita is take up the process of bhakti. Take up the process of bhakti. Perform bhakti of Lord Krishna. Now that is repeated message which is given in the Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavatam is everything is written about Krishna only. So there is nothing else Krishna. And Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. So if you read these three scriptures, these three scriptural books which are recommended to us by Srila Prabhupada, written by Srila Prabhupada, constantly we will get same message that worship Krishna, hear about Krishna, do chanting about Krishna, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By hearing and chanting, cultivate constant remembrance of Krishna. And if you can do this in one lifetime, you will go back to Krishna. It is as simple as that. Provided we take shelter of Shruti, we become Shruti Parayana, Narayan Parayana. Similarly, Shruti Parayana, become taking shelter of Shruti, we practice bhakti. 14th chapter is about modes of material nature. Krishna introduce and explain in detail different modes of material nature, and we'll continue that to use those modes to Krishna continue to use these modes to explain various activities done under the influence of these three modes. So this chapter was very important, and Krishna concludes this chapter also by saying Bhakti Yogena Sevate, that transcending modes, if one wants to transcend modes, what should one do? One should bhakti yoga, one should accept bhakti yoga and bhakti perform devotional service in the bhakti yoga. So again, every chapter, whatever Krishna topics Krishna picks up for discussion, Arjuna brings it up by way of asking question, and Krishna explains that topic, and he concludes every topic by saying how bhakti is superior, how bhakti is the one should hope to perform bhakti in one's own lifetime. That is what human birth is meant for. दुर्लभ मानुष्य जन्म सत्संगे, सत्संग करना चाहिए. दुर्लभ मानुष्य जन्म, मानुष्य जन्म इज वेरी दुर्लभ. दुर्लभ मीन्स बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है. एंड सो इट इज वेरी वैल्यूएबल, एंड वॉट एवर इज वैल्यूएबल शुड बी यूज इन द बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे. उसका दुरुपयोग नहीं करना चाहिए, गलत इस्तेमाल नहीं करना चाहिए. सो व्हाट इज द राइट यूज ऑफ ह्यूमन बॉडी दैट इज रिकमेंडेड इज सत्संग. दैट भक्ति योगा करना चाहिए, एक्चुअल भक्ति करनी चाहिए. And Krishna goes on to explain the similar point in the 15th chapter as well. 15th chapter where Krishna is saying that त्वमेव चाद्यम पुरुषम प्रपद्ये, that purusha आपको जाके search करना है. After going to the place from where you will not return, you will still have to search for the uttama purusha. Uttama purusha, कौन से उत्तम पुरुष है? यह यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसूता पुराणी, कि जिनसे सारी सृष्टि प्रसूत हुई है, प्रसूत मीन्स निर्माण हुई है, those who is the reason who has created or manifested this entire universe, the entire material world is manifested by him, and he is Purana Purusha. He existed when no one existed, nothing existed, and but he was existent, and everything has emanated from him, and he is that Purana Purusha. And in this verse, Krishna link that Purana Purusha, Uttama Purusha, with himself when he says that Yo Mam Evam Asamudho Janati Purushottama, the one who understands me to be the supreme personality of Godhead, that Purushottama is me. Then what do you do? Sarvavid bhajati mam. सर्वविद भजती माम, सर्वविद भजती माम, दे भजन, मेरा भजन करते हैं, सर्व भावे न भारत, विद ऑल देयर इमोशंस ओ भारत, दैट नॉट ओनली दिखावे के लिए भजन करते हैं, दे डोंट वर्शिप मी ओनली, दे डोंट रेंडर perform devotional service to me only just to make a show, just because I have told. No, they do it with all their heart, all their emotions, all their sentiments, all their intelligence, all their possessions, whatever they have, they use it in my service. Janati Purushottama. That once they understand me to be that Purushottama, then they will start worshipping me wholeheartedly without any reservations. 16th chapter also we discuss various things about demoniac and divine people. Mentality of the people can be divine, can be demoniac, and the banyan tree which Krishna brings up as which is the material world, which is upside down reflection of material of the spiritual world, and that banyan tree, the uppermost portion is of divine people and the lowermost portion is for demoniac people, and in between these two are the normal people, or people who are neither divine nor they are completely demoniac. And 17th chapter talks about those people, but 16th chapter also Krishna explains various things but concludes saying that shastra praman से डिसाइड करना चाहिए कि क्या करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे, कार्य कार्य व्यवस्थित हो, जो हमें करना क्या चाहिए और क्या नहीं करना चाहिए, इसका ज्ञान हमें शास्त्रों से मिलता है। शास्त्र को प्रमाण रख के, न कि मेरे मन से मेरे मन से शास्त्र नहीं लिखते, शास्त्र लिखे हुए हैं, हम सिर्फ उनको समझना है विथ फ्रॉम अथॉरिटीज एंड उनका पालन करना है। एंड accordingly, when we act according to shastra, our our uh, our actions are bona fide. We are able to perform actions in Krishna consciousness when we act according to Shastra only. And for that, Prabhupada has given Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada has given Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has given us Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even if we can study these three books, our life can become perfect. We don't need anything else. Arjuna opens 17th chapter by asking question about the people in the middle. Those who are neither divine, जो भक्ति कर रहे हैं, कृष्ण की भक्ति कर रहे हैं, कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस में है, रोज सुबह उठ के 16 माला जप कर रहे हैं, रोज भगवत गीता पढ़ रहे हैं, रोज भागवतम थोड़ा सा पढ़ रहे हैं, यात्रा को आ रहे हैं, वृंदावन जा रहे हैं, मायापुर जा रहे हैं, एंड भक्तों की सेवा कर रहे हैं, मंदिर में दान कर रहे हैं, भक्तों को भोजन करवा रहे हैं, वेरियस वेज इन विच दे आर एंगेजिंग देयर body, heart, mind, soul, intelligence, everything in service of Krishna and his devotees, and they are remembering Krishna all the time, and they are almost perfected their life. Now those are divine people. Demonic people are those who want to live without Krishna, want to enjoy Krishna's property without Krishna, and they reject Krishna. They don't only reject Krishna, they ridicule those who are following Krishna, those who are accepting Krishna. So they are people of divine demoniac nature, and so they also are in large quantity today, or in numbers. And then Krishna explains about those in the 16th chapter. So 16th chapter, the three verses are explaining the qualities of divine people, and rest of the whole chapter 21 verses are explaining the qualities of demoniac people, because they are so much, there are so many numbers that you need 21 verses to describe them. and Prabhupada writes elaborate purports about them. But Prabhupada, Krishna brings up, Arjuna brings up a very important topic, that there are people, a lot of people in between as well. It's not that everything is black and white, कि सब लोग इधर बहुत बुरे हैं और सब लोग एकदम अच्छे हैं. ऐसा नहीं होता है, because in reality we see the world around us, people, there are a lot of people who are in between. कोई साई बाबा का भक्त है, कोई संतोषी माता का भक्त है, कोई दुर्गा पूजा करता है, कोई गणेश चतुर्थी करता है, and there are followers of different, कल शिवरात्रि संपन्न हुई, so a lot of devotees are devoted to Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and then various other, this ma, that ma, and various other Shakti Pithas are there, various Vaishnav Devi, and so many devotees are, people are having so many different faiths in different uh, gods, and there are so many Babas are there, many ashrams are there, and so many different ways in which people are performing bhakti. People uh, and they believe, everybody, and they have some kind of faith. It's not that they are faithless like atheists who have no faith. And we still discussed in the previous session that how, in order to become atheist also, how it is difficult, because you need to still have faith that God doesn't exist. Now even that is a called faith, but for a moment accept that those who don't have faith on God, those are atheists, and that they are also in large numbers. But there are a lot of people who are in between, who still don't come to a stage where they accept Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, but they are also not completely faithless. They are somewhere in between. And if you look back at our own past, even we were probably somewhere in between. We were neither faithless, we were neither having a complete faith that the Krishna is the only worshipable object in these three worlds. That kind of knowledge, that kind of faith, that kind of conviction, probably even we never had a few years back, a few months back. So we were also somewhere in between. So Arjuna is asking this question about us: what will happen to those people? Are they in goodness, passion, or ignorance? And Krishna responds saying that Trivida Bhavati Bhakta Dehinam Swasvabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Chetitam Shrunu. Here, Shrunu, O Arjuna, that yes, these people have, according to the modes of nature, acquired by the embodied soul, that is the Swabhavaja. So these modes of nature are acquired by soul from the previous births. So that becomes our Swabhav. So when soul leaves body, at the moment of death, soul leaves body along with Antakaran, or the sukshma sharir he carries with himself. And that sukshma sharir consists of mind, ego, and intelligence. So mind is where everything is stored, intelligence is there, everything is stored, the emotions are stored, the habits are stored, the indulgences जो हमने कार्य किए थे पिछले जन्म में, पिछले शरीर में, वो सारे स्टोर होते हैं. जो चॉइसेस हमने किए हैं, दोज ऑप्शंस हमने क्या हमने बहुत बहुत गुस्से वाले थे, का बहुत वायलेंस किया है पिछले शरीर में, तो वो गुस्सा, वो वायलेंस की टेंडेंसी, दैट रिमेन्स विथ अस, एंड दैट care that comes with us in new body. And sometimes we see that some children cries, but they cry violently, and then other children, and it can be made out, and so we carry forward from where we left in the previous birth, the swabhav, the tendencies, the urges of actions that we bring forward into the new body, and from the previous body, and that Krishna is saying can be in sattva, rajo, and tamo. Now Krishna is going to explain that in detail to us. Let's see one example to elaborate on this point. So on the left hand side you see picture of Indradyumna Maharaj. Indradyumna Maharaj was a king, and he was meditating once in the jungle when Agastya Muni arrived at his place along with his disciple, and Maharaj was in meditation. He didn't took notice of his arrival, and accordingly he failed in his duty to get up. He's a king, As a king, you respect sadhus or respect rishis who come to your door, who comes to you, and you, even if you have nothing else to do, you can still get up, welcome them, offer them seat, and offer them sweet words. Speak with them nicely, of ask them what how you can serve them. Now, these are the basic etiquettes that are expected to be followed by every grahastha. Leave alone the king. King should do more than that. King should elaborately welcome a sage like Agastya Rishi, but he failed in this particular duty at this particular moment, and fear getting angry at him, Agastya Muni cursed him that you are sitting here dull, in a dull way, jada way. तो जड़ बन के बैठे हो यहाँ पर, तो तुम हाथी बन जाओ अगले जन्म में. And that's how he became Gajendra and became the king of elephants. So he was king of humans in elephant body. He became king of elephant, and that's how became very powerful. Elephant had lots of wives, lots of children, used to roam around in the jungle, like just like how a king will go. um he used to he will take he will come to this particular beautiful lake to take bath and have water pastimes with his queens and children and family, and generally a very very he had obviously forgotten Krishna. He had forgotten past life, uh, but at this point of time, once he was similarly playing in the lake, and his leg got caught by a crocodile. A crocodile came. The crocodile is also Huhu, Gandharva, in his previous birth, and he used to he was mischievous, and he once a sage was taking bath in a river and in a lake, and he was offering water. At that time, this Gandharva came underwater and started tinkling to the legs of this rishi, and seeing him do this stupid activity, Rishi became angry, and then he gave him curse that you become crocodile, you become like a jalacharan, and like crocodile, and that's how Huhu Gandharva becomes crocodile, and they meet at this point of time. And Jada, because of the Jadatva, that is the nature of slow moving nature of an elephant, he couldn't get out of this water very quickly and get caught by the crocodile. And then there was a big war that happened. Now, by the mercy of Lord, Gajendra could remember at this crucial juncture. That's the picture on the right hand side, when he couldn't escape himself by all his strength, when all his wives, children, brothers, the all the other elephants couldn't come to his rescue, he saw no other way uh, to get out of this, but this difficult situation of losing a war to a crocodile. He couldn't overcome. He was overpowered by this crocodile inside the water, and despite of having all the strength himself, despite of using all his strength, and then he suddenly remembered that he was King Indradyumna in his previous birth, and he started offering beautiful prayers, calling to Lord Hari. He picked up a lotus flower from the nearby pond area and offered it to the sky. He lifted his trunk towards the sky and offered it to Lord Hari, and offered beautiful prayers. One such prayer is Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namo Lalaya. Muktaya is your supremely independent. No, all of jivas, we are all having our own small little independence to do right wrong thing or choose our own course of actions. Similarly, he says Krishnala, that Krishna, you are supremely independent. You are Muktaya, Bhuri Karunaya. You are very merciful, and Namo Lalaya. Lalaya means you don't get tired of giving your mercy to devotees like me. Because for me, you have, oh Krishna, you have given many opportunities. S- you have you have been so merciful. You have given me many opportunities to come back to you. Given me, but my because of my attachments, because of my dullness, I could never really use those opportunities and actually come to you. But you don't get tired. You don't get tired of trying, oh my Lord. That's what Krishna Gajendra is saying to Lord, and he's glorifying Krishna. He's glorifying Vishnu. And immediately Vishnu comes and cuts the neck of this particular crocodile with his Sudarshan Chakra and rescues Gajendra, takes him back to Godhead. So this is example how Gajendra, how our swabhava gets carried forward or brought forward into our next life. And this was one of the story from the Srimad Bhagavatam that symbolizes this particular aspect. So in front of you is picture of two celebrations. Now our topic for today's discussion is faith. If you see people all in these pictures have seems to be having a lot of faith in the celebrating Lord Ganesha appearance. That's Ganesh Chaturthi festival that's predominantly celebrated in Maharashtra in very big way. On the right hand side you see Durga Mata. Durga Devi's big image is there, and below Durga are devotees of Lord Durga. They are probably singing and dancing, and it's again celebrated not only just in West Bengal or eastern part of country, but practically everywhere. Wherever Bengali population is there, they love to come together and celebrate beautiful pandal bring this beautiful deity of Durga and celebrate over 9 days the Durga Ashtami, Durga Puja, and in a big funfair way. The question for today's discussion are here. Now we can go one after another, and uh, we can discuss about how these two one of some of the biggest festivals that we have are celebrated. What happens before the festival, during the festival, and after the festival? What is our experience of seeing these festivals being celebrated? All of you hopefully would have seen these two major festivals being celebrated in and around Mumbai. If those who live in Maharashtra or they have witnessed this festival celebration in Maharashtra, they can speak about Ganesh festival. And those who have witness celebration Durga Puja, they can speak about that festival. But in general, we can also speak that what happens, how these festivals are celebrated in India. And second question is what spiritual benefits people get, and um, what would be the mood of deities, these deities, because we understand that now Ganesh is not just a deity that becomes alive only for 9 or 10 days. Ganesh is there. Ganesha is his writer, his stenographer of for he acted as a stenographer to Vyasdev when Lord decided to document these scriptures. He requested Ganesha wholeheartedly served him at that time to by writing everything that was dictated to him by Vyasdev. And the condition there was he would understand what he's writing. He can't just blindly write. So Ganesha understand all the scriptures, all the conclusions of the scriptures also he understand. So Ganesha is a very important deity in the Vedic history. So and is a person. Ganesha is a person. So it's not just there for those 10 days from Ganesh Chaturthi to Ananta Chaturdashi. He's there eternally. He's there almost eternally, as good uh, as long as the material creation exists, he exists. And Durga is again, Durga is Ganesha's mother, consort of Lord Shiva, and she is a devotee of Lord Krishna. She is serving Lord Krishna, maintaining this Durga, taking care of this Durga, that is material world, and she is the almost like a jailer for this material world, giving different punishments and rewards to people who are performing their activities inside this jail. So she's taking care of this jail, and she is devotee of Krishna. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharachara. Devi ya esha gunamayi mama maya dhuratvaya. So Maya Devi is Krishna claims that she is my divine energy, and she is very difficult to overcome. No one can overcome her in this material world unless one gets surrender to me, unless you surrender to me. Mam evam ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. You can cross over Maya or the influence of Maya only if you surrender to me, because she is my divine energy. She will bewilder you no matter who you are. And so these are the questions. And so we know that these are personalities, and personalities have feelings. You all are persons. You have feelings. If I say something wrong to you, you will get upset. If I praise you, you will become happy. Similarly, Ganesha and Durga are not just statues, they are people. Now they can manifest in a statue, in a deity, if you call them with love and devotion and accept your devotional service as well. However, we need to understand that how we should call them. We need to know how to call them, and how to, once they come, we should pray we should serve them with same awe and reverence. We can't just take them lightly just because. So let's go back to our group discussion and discuss some of these issues. So you can raise hands and we can start taking input. Yes, Jamuna Mataji, Hare Krishna, followed by Sudeep Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, in the beginning, before the festival could start, there are many people who, in the name of making the pandal and buying the deity of the particular festival, they go around collecting money, but that money is actually not sometimes used for that purpose. They may use it for intoxication or making merry after the in the name of making pandal or in the name of celebrating the festival. So before this thing, even in the household, people, they go around purchasing the type of enthusiasm, everything and all that. But after once the puja is over, once the festival is over, they just go and we just immerse the Lord in the water, and after that they're back to their own old life. They don't understand what was the lesson that we should have learned from those 10 days of having the deity in our house. What
Okay.
lesson, whatever was taught to us through him, that and all, we don't realize that. We just with joy and funfair we enjoy those 10 days. Then after 10 days everything is over, then we are back to square one. Like that only people are also like that. I have seen in many places that people actually threaten the shopkeepers to give money for the pandal, to prepare the pandal in that particular area. And then we also see that these people they don't play any music which is concerned with that particular deity. They play any Bollywood music or anything that is makes a lot of noise, and it's such a disturbance to the others, which is of which has got no value. At least if they play that God's music or that bhajan or something like that, it would be worth listening to. But they're only creating ruckus and being a nuisance to the people living around that place, like that. And then people also, even like being from that same faith, we also start wondering why these festivals are coming only then. That is my opinion, probably.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Very nicely summarized, all aspects. So what happens before, what happens during, what happens after. People go back to square one. Very nicely summarized. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sudeep Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. See, Prabhu, being coming from the Bengali background, I can describe elaborately on the Durga Puja what happens. But yeah, as a gist, I can summarize that the preparation, all the preparation for the community Durga Pujas, because usually Durga Pujas do not get in the houses, individual houses. It happens as a community because there are a lot of rituals to be followed, and it becomes very difficult for any single individual to do that. So it requires a group of people. So in the community, the preparation actually starts a few months before the puja actually happens, the date of the puja. And the plannings and how the deity should look like, how the pandal should be built, what should be the cost and budget. So all these things, there I can see that there are repeated meetings happen in these communities so that they can fine tune in this in every detail. And more of a puja, it also becomes a social gathering for the community. Okay, so and the 4 days the puja happens, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dashami. There are detailed plannings since early morning to the late evening. What are the rituals that has to happen? The Panditji has to perform the rituals, and how many people, the ladies group, then the gents group, they have roles defined for each team member, and how they will support the puja activities, the rituals, the procurement of the puja requirements, samagris. Okay, then the prasadas, how the prasadas has to be arranged. Some 800, 900, or sometimes 1,000 people. In other communities, more than 1,000 people are fed during these 4 days with bhoga khichdi and vegetables, and those are cooked on the spot. And that is also a very much a part of the pujas, and like that. And people actually, the community, they are waiting once these 4 days are over, they then start waiting for the next year's puja. So they eagerly wait for these 4 days because they want to be together for these 4 days. In addition to the what Mother Goddess has to bring us in blessings, this is something which excites people. And also the cultural programs which happen during the evenings. So this is how the puja happens. Of course, immersion is another part. When the day of Vijaya Dashami, the goddess with all the entire family of goddesses, they get immersed, and it is a sad happening for all the devotees in the community. But yes, that is a part of life. Yeah, that is how it happens.
And what happens after the event? We after the
After
conclusion
the
of
Yeah, after the event, then people go back to their normal life as usual, and yeah, they keep discussing this maybe for a few days, maybe till Diwali, and where another puja happens, which is Mother Kali, Goddess Kali. Her puja happens, so they discuss it, and then they go back to the normal mood of a day-to-day life, and then keep waiting for the next year puja.
Okay, does the animal sacrifice happens in Durga Puja in Bengal, or
Earlier it used to happen, Prabhuji, during the Navami date. The animal sacrifice used to happen, but now I don't think it happens, because even if it happens, maybe in one or two very traditional part of those zamindars, their generations are following and this thing. But maybe one or two cases, but not in general.
not in
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, not in the community pujas, never.
Okay. Ganesh festival is more of festival by scripture. I'm just reading some comments on the chat box. Problem is making it sarvajanik, no harm, turn into devotion, spirit, Ganesh, Pratham Puja. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Proji, for summarizing. And we'll hear from Vikas Proji, Jai Shri Mataji, and then Mukunda Proji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Actually, Mataji and Prabhuji has vastly summarized the things which are actually seen, but I have seen in couple of experiences also, I can say, because both the Durga Puja and the Ganpati Pandal is happening in our community as well in Mumbai itself. So what I see is, as Mataji explained, that they are during the time of this festival, they are playing the kind of songs, these Bollywood songs, and They are not sticking to actually what is the essence of that particular festival needs to be. And ultimately, the mood of the crowd that gathers there is just to dance and enjoy. Means during this Durga Puja, and same goes with the Ganpati also. They just want to just sense gratification. Like they want to just wear new dresses. They will just want to dance. They just want to find some kind of good couples there, which I could personally see in fact. Means otherwise, if I go back to like 20-25 years, and when some kind of puja used to happen in our uh, at our home or in the community, the mood used to be altogether different. That used to be the devotional mood, and now it has come to the conclusion like these are the enjoyable moment of our life, and we can uh, we can just kind of gratify our senses. And I hope Shikshastikam actually posted a beautiful video on this, and I was watching through, and they presented a data that what kind of vulgarity is being promoted in the wake of these festivals, and it is not worth mentioning even here. So, as you asked in the question that what is actually going on during the festival and what is the mood of the people, that is not actually as per the Vedic instruction that should be. So, the festivals that are getting promoted, as Prabhuji and Mataji beautifully covered, those are actually have become the center of sense gratification rather not of promoting the spiritual substance in it. So that is actually my personal observation, what I could perceive during the two festivals. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, Jai Shri Mataji and Mukund Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Yeah. I wanted to highlight certain facts only because most of the facts have been covered by our senior Prabhuji and Mataji. So I just wanted to add that certain households still do the Ganesh Puja and Navratri Puja at least with full devotion. But they are more scared of and more worried about all the preparations that they have to do. And during Ganesh Puja, when people come for Aarti and all, the focus is more on, the arrangements. Towards Ganesha, Bhakti towards Devi Puja also gets a bit disturbed. It's not, full focus. And then after the immersion, particularly after the immersion of Ganesh, after the Ganesh festival is over and after the Durga festival is over, the immersion of the idols is literally, what to say, completely ignored. After the process is over, the ocean is just littered with all these idols, which is a very sad sight and very environment damaging factor also. So that factor, literally puts your mind and what to say, heart off. We feel that why these festivals are celebrated if the end is going to be like this. So the deity who was worshipped for 9 days, 10 days, 2.5 days is just left at the mercy of somebody else, which is very sad. So that is the drastic case we have been seeing now. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Mukund Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So, adding to the various valid points which the other devotees have raised, I always have some questions, and more in the festival, but even otherwise also, that lot of the statute of the deities which are kept on the festival or otherwise also, they are poured with milk and all this ghee and all in huge quantum, and even oil of some of the deities, and people do believe that that is how they should pray to God. But I do not know really whether that is because when we listen to Bhagavad Gita and all, the chanting and all is the supreme important thing. So should all these things matter, and should all these things be continued? Because what I think is that these traditions might have been established, say, 4-5 thousand years ago, when human beings were less and the cattle was much in high in quantity. If you see today, it is exactly reverse. So if you have to get a milk, you have to literally do a lot of cruelty with the animals also, because without that you will not be able to get sufficient milk and all other things. And same about honey. So therefore, whether these things should be continued, and what is your view about all these activities to be performed?
Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna,
Thanks.
Prabhuji. If you allow me, I would like to answer the question of Mukund Prabhuji to the knowledge I have got, whatever the little knowledge.
We'll
But later.
come back to that. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
later. Yeah. Yes, Harish Prabhuji. And then we can go back to the presentation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I agree with all the comments made by various Matajis and Prabhujis. But I have one important thing is now this both the festivals, you can say Ganesh Chaturthi and Durga Puja, they have become a kind of an industry, and the kind of business, you can say, or the kind of people who are earning the, you can say, their livings during this period is phenomenal. There may be a lot of negativities in terms of people are not really having that kind of a shraddha, and people are using Bollywood music, and but there are people, there are families who are so I would say regularly, year after year, they bring Ganpati at home and do puja, and very sincerely they have tradition from their generations. And originally started with, you can say, with the freedom, independence time, Lokmanya Tilak started this. But now I think it has become a kind of industry. If you see, I mean, if you suddenly decide to do it on low scale, there are a lot of families who will suffer, because there are people who are making deities, there are people who are selling all these pandals and those kind of items which are there for sale. And in a way, it is also bring in community and the religious sentiments during that period. A lot of people do fasting. A lot of people do sort of meet with families. So it has been the source of our strength of our country. There are these kind of festivals, you can say, bring the people closer, and then bring the ties together, and they have that kind of a shraddha. There is always going to be dilution in any festival or any puja which is being done, but that doesn't sort of stop or shouldn't stop people from doing this, because there is a lot of shraddha behind it. And especially in Maharashtra or even West Bengal for Durga Puja, I think people are very, very sentimental about it. The 2 years of the lockdown was not allowed. But there are a lot of people who were kind of disturbed. But then when it started last year, I mean, it came with a big bang. A lot of people celebrated in a big way. So my submission to this is basically it is no longer a small festival which is being celebrated at home, or few people are doing it. So it has become a big business. It has become a big earning source of earning for a lot of people, and it has to be seen in not only in the context of religious this thing. It has to be seen in terms of a lot of people do donations during this period. A lot of people have some kind of sort of I mean, even today the Ganpati temples and all.
Hare Krishna. We are losing your voice, Prabhuji. Are we lost? Harish Prabhuji, you're there?
Yeah, no audio.
No audio. Okay. Okay, we'll allow him to come back. But yes, I mean, a lot of points mentioned by, contributed by a lot of devotees, and thank you so much for doing that. We can, I'm just share the screen. So yes, our point was about faith. Now we're discussing the subject matter of faith in the and where we place our faith, and what happens when we place a faith in a wrong place, and by we perform sadhana or worship by placing faith in the wrong place, what happens? So even if we bring Ganpati, even if we celebrate Ganpati, now Harish Roji brought a point that it's an industry, it's a employment generation. There is a employment, the some money need to be given to people, and a lot of people get job during this time, and that for that one reason it should continue. Now that's a byproduct of of a festival being celebrated. That's not why we celebrate festival. For primary aim is that we have some shraddha, we have some faith towards the deity, and that is the primary driver. And the other, Sudhir Prabhuji brought up a point of cultural program. It's more of a social gathering, where people get together, people get opportunity to come together, and they look forward to meet each other. Now they look forward after that also, they continue meeting and discussing how previous one was celebrated, what was not done right, what we can do right later next year, and then that journey continued. Ganesh festivals similar, even at home, whatever we celebrate at home, we have some shraddha, we bring the idol. We those who eat non-veg also will not eat non-veg in those 10 days. They will follow strict vegetarian diet. They will try to be as good as possible, no violence in the home, and then try and play devotional songs at home. At times they will also play Bollywood music, and they will generally feel that Ganesha, if I enjoy it, why should Ganesha not enjoy it? Something of that sort. Or everyone can have their own self-manufactured belief, and accordingly they may treat Lord Ganesha without really having to understand who Lord Ganesha is, and what really his position is, and what should be our real mood in his worship. Similarly, none of these festival celebrations, even if done after generation, if the grandmother in the home left her body, and then after by celebrating these festivals, does not give rise to a jigyasa that where my grandmother has gone. My grandmother was there last Ganpati, she was there, and 2 months later she left her body, and where she went. Now, no matter how grandly you celebrate these festivals, this kind of inquiry will never come. This kind of inquiry will never come to us, and she will not have. We will. There will be no inquiry that we will see that. Does Lord Ganesha has any role to play where my grandma has gone, where my grandmother would have gone, and what has brought her here, what had brought her here, and where she has gone? So the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, Brahma Jigyasa, where we come from, where we go after giving up this body, none of those spiritual questions can arise, no matter how properly we perform these worships, because because they are not celebrated in that mode. We don't look up to these deities as source of our source of information, or source of our inquiry, a source of knowledge, and hence these questions only does not come up no matter how properly we try and celebrate this festival. So spiritually, practically, people don't get no benefit. And like Jigna Mataji mentioned, that the moment the idols are immersed in the water, whatever ways and means, we may do it eco-friendly or non-eco-friendly, whatever ways and means by which we immerse our idols, and then we go back to our normal way. 11th day we are waiting when the idol will get immersed, and when I will go back to my and when we will order our meat, our favorite meat, or our favorite poison we will order, and we will immediately start enjoying it. So our austerities for 10 days, we वसूल करते हैं हम उसके immediately after, we वसूल करते हैं, अरे 10 दिन नहीं खाया, अभी तो डबल खा लेते हैं, डबल पी लेते हैं, and that's how the whole story continues. So whatever little faith we might have had and bringing those idols and doing some kind of a worship, everything gets lost, because we simply, it doesn't benefit us. Does it become pleasing experience for the idols? Now we know those idols are personalities, and unlike us, I cannot manifest at two places. Lord Ganesha can manifest in every idol, and every deity that is being worshipped. He can manifest, provided you want him to really manifest, and you serve him nicely once he manifests there. But he can manifest in each and every deity that is getting worshipped during Ganesh Chaturthi. Same can be possible. Same is possible for Durga Puja. But these are all devotees of Lord. These are devotees. They are all worshipping Krishna. They are all in rendering services to Krishna. So they are Vaishnavas. They are like Vaishnavas. They are as good as Vaishnavas, and they can't tolerate nonsense. We went to a Durga Puja Pandal in Pune last year, and it was sponsored by Venkis, and they had a big shop set up of their own, selling Venkis chicken and chicken related dishes, and all devotees were, they forgot the prasad, but they were queuing up in front of that stall right on that day of Durga Puja. So everything gets distorted, and it benefits neither it benefits those who are worshipping by keeping faith in that way, and nor the deities get pleased. So spiritually, it doesn't really benefit anybody, and neither the gods who are being worshipped, even they get pleased by such worship. They probably doesn't need to they don't need to listen to the latest Bollywood chart, or which are the latest Bollywood hit songs which are there. If they want to find out, they can find it out themselves. They don't need to come to the material world, being in that idol or deity for a few days, and listen to this nonsense. And nobody even people are stop even making attempt to approach a deity as a deity. They, for them it's just there, and you do what you want to do, we do what we want to do, and it's a very sad state in which the celebrations are done today. About the point Mukundraji raised about yesterday, I was listening, and that milk was in scarcity. Everybody probably black marketed the milk, and milk was not available because everybody wanted to purchase milk and and pour it on the Shivlinga, the nearest Shivlinga which they can find. And is this required? Is this not required? So we'll not go into that discussion. This is again a matter of faith. How is one approaching Lord Shiva? Are we going to Lord Shiva saying that become remove obstacles from path of my bhakti? You are a Vaishnava, you are a Mahajana, so remove obstacle, help me become a nice devotee of Lord Krishna, help me become a nice devotee of Lord Ram. And for that, we worship, we fast on the Shivratri day, we perform some austerity, we perform some devotional service, we read something nicely. Even if we can do that much, will Lord Shiva be pleased? Of course he will be pleased if we do it that way. But does it means then abhishek which is done is completely useless, where ghee is poured, or we ourselves carry out elaborate abhishek of Lord on the various days? Gaur Purnima will have another abhishek of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's deity, and the Charanamrit will get distributed to everyone who will be present witnessing that abhishek. So is that all completely useless? The answer is no. When the way Lord is treated in the temple, and Lords can be given elaborate path on his special day. That's like we celebrate our special days. These are the days on which Lord appeared in the material world. On those particular days, the Gaur Purnima is the tithi on which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this material world. He's Lord Krishna himself, so he descends in this material world, and he inaugurate the movement of Harinam Sankirtan by chanting. He only, dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranita. So only God can create a religion, and that can only be followed. Nobody else can manufacture his own religion, and even if they follow that with utmost faith, it's useless. But once God creates a religion and he gives that religion and they establishes it for the purpose of so that the people can follow it. And Harinam Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtan, simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can perfect one's life and go back to Godhead. Now this is the message. This is the simple message Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, and he appeared on the Gaur Purnima day. So on all ISKCON temples, we will carry out elaborate abhishek of Lord's deities and distribute the same as Charnamrut to all the devotees assembled there. Now, this is a devotional service. This is a devotion. This is not wasting of milk, wasting of ghee, and wasting of honey, and wasting of fruit juices. And this will be fed to all the devotees. So it's not actually wasted as well in that sense also. But where the Lord is worshipped like Lord, and if you go to any ISKCON temple, the lords are actually being worshipped like lords, and they've been given that respect. They've been given that service. So every temple 4:30 Bal Bhoga is offered, and the Lord's altar is open with by offering him Bal Bhoga, which is sweets made up of milk, and then elaborate 6 times the artis are done, and elaborate worship is done. Garlands are changed every day. The clothes are changed every day. The festivals are celebrated every day, and the temple become a center of attraction for the whole community, where community comes and then hear about Bhagavad Gita. People just don't come to the temple just to see the deity dress color and which style, which texture it is, which silk it is used. But people come to the temple, they accept prasad. The process of Krishna consciousness begins from the moment they enter a temple. They see chakra of a temple from the outside temple also. It's as good as seeing the deity himself. And from that moment onwards, their devotional service begins, and they enter the temple, they meet devotees, they wear tilak, they take darshan of Lord, they take prasad, they take charanamrit, they read Bhagavad Gita, they read Bhagavatam, they hear to the classes, they hear to the kirtans, they sing in the kirtans, they dance in the kirtans, they meet devotees, they make friends with devotees. Devotees come to their home, they invite devotees to their home, and their devotional service, their journey back to Krishna begins. And temples and the elaborate worship that happens in the temple, they play a big role in that. But yes, it should not just be restricted to that. The preaching is also important. The hearing and chanting is also extremely important. So everything needs to be balanced, but then that is not a waste if it is done properly. And so moving on, the 17.4, Krishna says that men in the mode of goodness. Now Krishna is going to elaborate about the faith. The people put faith in wrong things, and what results they get. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those who in the mode of passion worship demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. So we worship somebody on whom we put our faith on. So it's a question of faith. So people in different gunas will have different types of faith. The people will in the mode of goodness, uh, passion and ignorance, and they will have different faiths in different gunas. And this is what the whole purport Prabhupada will explain. Worshippers are described according to their external activities. According to the scriptural injunctions, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipable. But those who are not very conversant with it or faithful to the scriptural injunction. So scripture says that only Krishna has to be worshipped. Purushottam Yoga very clearly identifies that Krishna is that Purushottama and only he needs to be worshipped. But those who are not very conversant with it, those who have not understood Bhagavad Gita the way it is spoken, and or those who don't have sufficient faith on the scriptural injunctions or scriptural message, then for them some kind of additional worship is required until they become purified enough, qualified enough to study scriptures. So for those people, the worship, they worship different objects according to their specific situations in the mode of material nature. Those who are situated in goodness generally worship the demigods. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, and Sun God. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. So their bhakti is not a hetuki bhakti. Their bhakti is with a purpose. They want something out of their bhakti. And even if they don't want something material, they want peace of mind, they want happiness, they want to enjoy happiness. So at least those subtle desires will always be there. uh, no matter and there could be gross desires as well, that I want a job, I want promotion, I want spouse, I want credit card, I want whatever, I want child, I want son, I want daughter, uh, whatever could be the objective goal behind the worship. So the faith, putting faith and worshipping with a purpose, it's not a hetuki. A hetuki means without any purpose, without a mother serve her infant child without any purpose. She doesn't need anything back from the child. She doesn't say this as my investment so that I become old, you take care of me. There's no contract signed with that infant baby. She just loves that baby a hetuki, without any expectation, without any attachment, without any returns expected. So Prabhupada elaborates in the way that those who are in the mode of passion worship demons. We recall, Prabhupada is saying, we recall that during the Second World War, a man in Kolkata worshipped Hitler because thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in black market. To the point what Harish Prabhuji is saying, that a lot of people make a lot of money. So Prabhupada is giving example of a man who at that time in Kolkata could make a lot of money, because obviously the World War II, when that was there, a lot of scarcity of various life necessities probably would have been felt by people, and this man probably could be a very influential person. He stocked a lot of that stuff, and then he sold it later in the black market and amassed a lot of money, a lot of wealth. And because he, all credit due to Hitler, who launched this war on this world, he thought it is only because of Hitler I am wealthy today, and then he started worshipping Hitler. So this is his faith. Unfortunately, sometimes people worship at the tomb of some dead man. Lenin's statue, people queue up in the Russia. We'll see that image, but people actually queue up in Moscow to go and offer flower to Lenin's statue in Moscow. And Prabhupada saw that. They say they see people they are so naturally attracted to something. Now they don't have proper object of worship, so they are worshipping dead man. And and that's what, this is what Prabhupada saw in his first visit to Moscow, when he went there with Shamsundar Prabhuji. And he sensed that there is a great potential in Russia to become a devotional hub. And today, after India, I think Russia has the largest number of ISKCON temples, and Russian devotees. You find Russian devotees anywhere, everywhere. Wherever the lecture is happening in Vrindavan, Mayapur, a Russian translation has to happen, because there are so many Russian devotees all over there. So this is what Prabhupada sensed when he, in his first visit to Moscow, and that's how he inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement in Moscow, by making first devotee in his trip. He saw people worship at the tomb of a dead man. Sexual service is also considered to be in the mode of darkness. Similarly, in remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghost. We have seen that in India, that lower class people sometimes go to a forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in a tree, they worship that tree and offer sacrifices. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes further this purport to this verse, that 4.3.23, it is said that Sattvam Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. When a man is situated in pure goodness, he worships Vasudeva. The purport is that those who are completely purified of the material modes of nature and who are transcendentally situated can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. So the two pictures we will see, and that again, the theme is um, wrong austerities, wrong faith. If we put faith wrong in the wrong way, then whatever we do after that, we eat food, do charity, we perform austerity, and we perform some sacrifice. Food, austerity, charity, sacrifice, whatever we do, because once we keep faith, we will do these four actions according to our faith. If we put faith in wrong thing, of these four things done will yield no result, because they will be done in the wrong way as well. The first example is that of Hiranyakashipu. When he was performing austerities, he had faith on Brahma, that he thought Lord Brahma is the supreme personality of God, and probably he is himself, he himself is above the cycle of death, and therefore he performed great austerity to please Lord Brahma. And when Lord Brahma appeared on this swan, he asked him boon that he does not want to die. But Brahmaji said it's a wrong number, because I myself is going to die. Krishna says in 8th chapter 16th verse, Abrahma bhuvanar loka punaravartino arjuna mam upaityat kaunteya punarjanma न विद्यते. So ब्रह्मा से लेके पाताल लोक तक सारे लोकों के जीव 14 worlds, what we say, the everyone will go through the cycle of death and birth. If some have very long duration of life, so that's why they are called almost chiranjeevi. But chiranjeevi doesn't mean that they will not die. They will just have a long life as compared to human beings, from human perception. So therefore they are called chiranjeevi. So practically everybody will die. Brahmaji will also die. And so when Hiranyakashipu asks for this particular boon from Brahmaji, he says, I cannot give you this boon. So then he made some last minute jugaad and asked for a bean, that he thought he's covered everything. Not, I will not be killed by a man or a demigod or a god or a demigod, or and so on and so forth. He made a big list, made a very proper contract, and got it weighted from Lord Brahma, that in such situations nobody can kill me. And Brahmaji agreed, and then Narsimha Dev appeared, by he met all his condition and still killed him. So the faith and austerity that he performed were useless. End of the day, it couldn't help him get out of the cycle of birth. Remember, the root cause of all our problem is sat asat yoni janmasu, that we repeatedly take birth in different species of life. Now that is our problem statement. Now, you know Brahmaji appearing in front and asking Hiranyakashipu, what do you want? Now, even Brahmaji could not solve this problem. What to speak of Ganesha and Durga, who are Brahmaji is there, he's a senior to them as well. So even he couldn't solve this problem. So what to speak of Ganesha and Parvati or Durga giving benedictions for helping their devotees to go out of the cycle of birth and death. They can't help them. Even Brahmaji couldn't help. What to speak of these devotees, these demigods. Another right hand side is a story of Bhasmasur. Bhasmasur also performed a great sacrifice for pleasing Lord Shiva. So he wanted Lord Shiva to appear in front of him and say that, give me benediction. And for that, what he was doing, he was cutting flesh from his body and offering it into the sacrifice. Now, this is again a very horrible way of sacrifice, but performing austerity. Now, some may say that this is great, because it's not easy to cut flesh from your body and offer it in the Havan Kunda as ahuti, but it is done in a completely wrong way. But finally, he was about to cut his head and offer it into the Havan Kunda. Then Lord Shiva appeared. He said, "क्यों कर रहे हो ये सब? क्या चाहिए?" And then he asked for a boon. What was the boon he asked? That he said, who I may put my hand on anybody, his head should break into million pieces. He should get burned. He should get destroyed. He said, Shiva said, why you want this kind of a boon? He said, that is my will. This is my desire. So tell me if you are going to give me this boon or not. I have pleased you. You are supposed to give me that. And then Lord Shiva said, okay, yes. And then he started chasing Lord Shiva because now he wanted to put his hand on Lord Shiva's head and see what happens. So that he wanted to kill Lord Shiva. So why? Because he wanted to marry his wife Parvati. He wanted Parvati, and therefore he started chasing Lord Shiva. And then Lord Vishnu appeared in the Mohini Roop, and then while dancing he disguised him, and then she keep her hand on her head, and while by following her footsteps, Bhasmasur also kept his hand on his own head and get destroyed. So when you put faith in wrong place, um, and then from then onwards, whatever you do, everything, first of our starting point is wrong, everything else will be wrong. And that is what we see happening in these scriptural examples. We see example of Lenin. This is Moscow, where we made a mention some time back that Prabhupada said that he saw people queuing up early morning, 4 o'clock, with flower in their hand, and standing in front of this statue of Lenin, so that they could go in one by one offer flower to Lenin. Now he's a dead man already. Now Prabhupada saw that, and he said there's great potential. They just don't know whom to offer flower to. If they offer same flower to Krishna, Krishna will be so pleased. Krishna will give them devotional service. Krishna will give them bhakti so that they can perform nice bhakti and come back to Krishna. But this worship is not yielding them any benefit, not giving them any benefit. The right hand side is a picture where Rajnikant is being worshipped in some of the uh, some parts, southern parts of our country, Chennai and maybe other places. But again, uh, Rajnikant is human, so though he's alive and Lenin is dead, it does not help you in any way. By he himself is bound in the cycle of birth and death. He himself cannot exit unless he perform devotional service. So he cannot help us exit the cycle of birth. So his worship is useless as well. The 17th chapter, 5th and 6th verse is combined together. Krishna says that Shastra Vihitam Ghoram Tapantye yo tapo janaha dambha ahankara sanyuktaha kama raga balanvitaha karshayantaha sharirastham bhutagramam chetasaha ma chaivanta sharirastham tan vidya asura nishchayan. That पक्का ये डीमन है, ये पक्के डिमोनियक पीपल है, पक्के है, निश्चयान पक्के. Which are those people who are demoniac? Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment. We saw example of Bhasmapusur and pride and ego. That's the example of Hiranyakashipu. So egoism, they are impelled by lust and attachment. That's Bhasmasur, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within. So when you torture body, there is super soul within as well. Krishna says, I am that super soul, and I dwell in every body as super soul. Sarvasya cha aham radhisannivishto. So I get pain as well. You are causing me pain as well. The torture as well, the torture, the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within are known to be demons. So such people are demons. So Bhasmasur is a demon, and Hiranyakashipu is a demon. And similarly, those who are worshipping, they are also demon, because even if somebody perform some sacrifice or torture his body, keep fast for 11 days for Rajnikant, it's going to be no useless, because he's not only torturing his body, which is made up of material elements, but he's also torturing the super soul within. That's Krishna himself, with who is currently living in this body. So by performing such sacrifices, uh, you are not benefited in any way. Prabhupada write in the purport, there are persons who manufacture modes of austerity and penance which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions. For instance, fasting on some ulterior purposes, such as promote purely a political end, is not mentioned in the scriptural directions. The scriptures recommend fasting for spiritual advancement, not for some political end or social purpose. Persons who take to such austerities are, according to Bhagavad Gita, certainly demoniac. Actually, they act out of pride, false ego, lust, and attachment for the material enjoyment. One should always remember the ultimate end of the demoniac people, as described in the previous chapter. The Lord forced them to take birth in the womb of demoniac persons. Now, what happens to the Krishna says, who are demoniac people? That who put faith in wrong things. And so if faith triggers everything, faith will trigger everything. So अगर faith गलत जगह रखा है, and from there onwards, if you perform austerities, penances, and give some charity or eat some food stuff, whatever you do after, faith is the trigger, faith is the starting point. From then onwards, whatever you do, you not only create disturbance in your material body if you perform a lot of austerities like Bhasmasur or like Hiranyakashipu, but also you're torturing the super soul within. Krishna does not get pleased by such actions. And so Lord, and such demoniac people, what does Krishna do? Krishna said, Lord forced them to take birth in the wombs of demoniac persons, so that unfortunately for them, they will continue performing their demoniac activities in future as well. Consequently, Prabhupada writes further that consequently they will live by demoniac principle life, a life after life. They will live by demoniac principles life after life without knowing their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because unless we realize our relationship with Krishna, we will have no desire to go back to Krishna. Neither, and if we have no desire to go back to Krishna, we will never surrender to Krishna. We will never perform activities which are pleasing to Krishna, which is hearing and chanting. If we can't do this, there is no hope that we will remember Krishna at the moment of our death. Even if you remember Rajnikant at the moment of your death, it's what's going to happen. Even if you remember Durga at the moment of death, what's going to happen? You're still bound in the cycle of birth. So your problem statement remains unresolved. And that therefore, even Durga will become happy when Chandi will become happy when you start worshipping Krishna. Chandidas example, we hear that the two brothers who used to live, one was Vaishnava and one was Chandidas was worshipping Ma Chandi. And Chandidas was opulent. His brother was poor, and he had a flower. He had a big garden from where he had few flower trees being there, and he used to pluck flowers from that garden and offer it to Ma Chandi every day. Very faithful worshipper of Ma Chandi. And one day his Vaishnava brother saw a beautiful flower, and in imagination he thought it will be so nice if I can offer this flower to the Shaligram Shila that I have, and my Lord will be so pleased if I could do that. And after thinking this, he approached his brother saying that, can I offer this flower? And he said, no, this is meant for my deity. You go figure out your way, whatever you want to offer. Otherwise, this is my garden is meant for Ma Chandi. And then Chandidas plucked that flower and offered it to Ma Chandi. And Chandi became so happy because now she got prasad. Why? Because this Vaishnava, when he offered that flower to his Shaligram Shila, even in his mind, even though it was just in his mind that he performed that puja, that flower became prasad. It's no longer ordinary flower. And when that prasad was offered to Ma Chandi, she became so pleased. She came out of that deity, and Chandidas was astonished, saying that I've been worshipping you for so long, but what I did today so special that you decided to come out of you this deity and give me pratyaksha darshan. And she said, you offered me prasad today. That's why I am very happy. He said, no, I never did anything like that. I only worship you, and whatever I offer you, I take that as prasad. But she says, no, no, you are mistaken. This flower which you offered was offered to my Lord, the Lord whom I worship. And therefore, this is prasad, and I am very happy with you. And then Chandidas understood that his brother offered it in his mind to Lord Krishna, and thereby it became prasad. And then he retained his name. He considered Ma Chandi as his guru, and but he became Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava, and he's perfected his life after that. So um, so the people, so we should, so we otherwise will get caught up living life in we using the demoniac principles, and this can change only if we get association of Vaishnavas. Just like Chandidas got association of Ma Chandi, who is a Vaishnavi herself, and she directed his consciousness towards Krishna. So Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph that if, however, such persons are fortunate enough to be guided by a spiritual master who can direct them to the path of Vedic wisdom, they can get out of this entanglement and ultimately achieve the supreme goal. That is attaining Krishna. Supreme goal is attaining Krishna. And once you attain Krishna, you don't return to the cycle of birth. Aprapyamma nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Krishna says in 9th chapter, 3rd verse, that aprapyamma nivartante. If you cannot attain me, then you will return. Nivartante, you will return. Where? Mrityu samsara vartmani. That samsara where there is repeated death. There is a cycle of birth and cycle of death. So if you attain me, then you don't go there. If you don't attain me, you will go there for sure. The last section in this verse is about food. We said that once we put faith in a particular deity, we perform various activities. We offer them food, we perform austerities, we perform penances, and we perform charity. So the food, the 7th verse, each food of each person prefers of 3 kinds. Again, food is of 3 kinds. 3 kind of food is described by Krishna in the 3 modes of material nature. The same is true for sacrifice, austerities, and charity. Now here the distinction between them. So the 4 topics will be discussed by Krishna from here onwards. The food, austerity, sacrifice, and charity. Food, austerity, sacrifice, and charity. And what we'll do is we will take up this section in subsequent sessions. Let's summarize, and in the summary, we say that this world is like a jail. We heard that the problem statement is we have to attain Krishna, and we have to go out of material world back to the spiritual world. And this material world is like a jail. It's like a jail, and at times we may have an air conditioned jail, we may have carpet in our jail, and or we may have very austere jail where everything is very difficult, or we may have very comfortable jail. But jail is jail. Once Radhashyam Prabhu was describing in one of his class that he asked question to an old man. Old couple was sitting in front of him. He asked them a question that would you prefer to get shackled? Shackled means जो बेड़ियां होती है जेल में कैदियों के हाथ में, तो shackled बोलते हैं. उन्होंने पूछा कि क्या what will be your preference to get shackled by golden, silver, or iron shackles? And he said golden. And his wife said, you fool, why you want to get shackled? You should say, I don't want to get shackled, I want to be free, I want to go out of jail. So this is our mentality, this is our position. We are attached to jail, we are attached to the enjoyment, seeming enjoyment that we get in the jail. We attach to our neighbors, who are also in the jail, just like us. We've done wrong, they have done wrong, and we enjoy our company. We don't want, none of us want to get out of the jail. We are not having sufficient attraction to go out of jail. Prabhupada has opened gate of this jail by establishing Krishna consciousness, giving us Krishna consciousness, giving us hearing and chanting, giving us his books. He has simply opened the gate of this jail. But we are so dull. We are so lazy that we are so hooked to the various enjoyments that we get inside the jail that we have no desire to go out of jail. Even if we go out of jail, we will be free, but we don't want to go out of there. And we have different various attachments to material things or subtle things like pride, subtle things like respects, so and various other things that we are attached to, because of which we don't want to remember Krishna constantly. We contemplate on all other things other than Krishna, all other subject other than Krishna, because we are attached to those things. And as long as we will continue to be attached to those things, we will not be fully attached to Krishna. And unless we get attached to Krishna, our mind and intelligence get invested in Krishna, we will not remember Krishna 24/7. And that will continue to cause us being inside this jail, sometime in the air conditioned compartment, sometime in a very austere compartment, sometime in a very in the sun, sometimes amongst various quarreling members of jail. But we will be perpetually get caught up in this jail, and even though we see today that the gate is open, even though we are struggling to take up to the process, develop a desire to go out of jail. That is our position. So we should be very careful now. Having we this gate will also not be open perpetually. Prabhupada has opened it for us. He has given us the tools. Now we have to cultivate desire, use the tool, and get ourselves out of this jail. That is our duty. If we can do that, that will be the success of our life. Success of our life is also defined in two ways. That sattva guna, in the entire chapter, from rest of the chapter, the focus will be on coming to sattva guna. And Radhasham Prabhuji beautifully describes this, that coming to sattva guna is like coming to the airport, and coming to Shuddha Sattva is like taking off, getting involved, performing activities in Krishna consciousness is like taking off of an aeroplane, and then towards Krishna. Aeroplane is going towards Krishna. So when we come to the Sattva Guna, platform of Sattva Guna, it's like coming to the airport, but that is not sufficient. We have to get inside the plane, and plane also has to take off. So we need to do everything that is necessary for facilitating such takeoff towards Krishna by taking up Krishna activities in Krishna consciousness, deliberately performing those activities in Krishna consciousness. We will take off towards Krishna, and that should all be wanting to do. This is what Durlabha Manusha Janama Satsange Taraha E Bhava Sindhure. When when this beautiful song Bhajahure Mana, the poets sing that दुर्लभ मानुष्य जन्म सत्संगे. दुर्लभ मानुष्य जन्म, मनुष्य जन्म बहुत दुर्लभ है और उसको सत्संग में यूज करना चाहिए, डिवोशनल सर्विस परफॉर्म करनी चाहिए, कृष्णा कॉन्शियस बनना चाहिए, उसमें यूज करना चाहिए. एंड अगर वो कर पाए तो तरह ए भव सिंधु रे, ये जो मटेरियल ओशन है, दिस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड इज कंपेयर्ड टू अ ओशन ऑफ मटेरियल. भव सिंधु, सिंधु इज ओशन एंड भव इज मटेरियल वर्ल्ड. भयानक भयानक समुंदर है. एंड this ocean can be crossed over if we take to the satsanga. Satsanga is association of devotees performing devotional service, actually performing devotional service in association of devotees. If we can take to that, then we can cross over this bhava sagar, and that will be the perfection of our human birth. So we'll summarize faith in right conceptions. So we've seen what faith in wrong conception does to us. It benefits nobody. No matter how many years you do it, no matter how many lifetime you do it, it will not trigger a spiritual inquiry, because they are not meant to for that. So they are people people perform, nothing changes even if you perform a lot of activities, lot of austerities, by placing faith in wrong deities, wrong people, and wrong way of doing things. So no matter how hard we try, we will not achieve success, because this is avidhi purvak worship. Avidhi purvak, Krishna says in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this is performing austerities in avidhi purvak, indirect worship, and Krishna does not like it. Krishna does not recommend it. Krishna says you perform direct worship. Satata kirtayanto mam yatantascha drudavrata namasyantascha mam nitya nitya yukta upasate. So perform devotional service to me, and that's the underlying message of Bhagavad Gita. Purushottama is me. uh, the 10th chapter, the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, Krishna again explains the importance of worshipping him, that matta sarvam pravartate, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti bhaktva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tvam yena mam upayantite. That people can come to me, I will give them intelligence, provided I see them performing actions with Krishna consciousness. So Krishna does not want us to go here, go there, try this, try that, ये भी करते हैं वो भी करते हैं. Does not, he just wanted us to, he want us to focus, have a single minded focus. Vyavasayitmaka buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. He says you have vyavasayitmaka buddhi, just single minded focus रख के आप कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस में प्रैक्टिस कीजिए. आपको और कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. एंड none of those things will benefit you. Since you have come to the Krishna consciousness, you have come to the Prabhupada movement, now take that up with whole faith, wholeheartedly, 100% attention, 100% commitment. If you can do this, that is sufficient for you to solve the problem of life. That is sat asat yoni janmasu. Repeated birth is the problem of life, and desire to enjoy is the root cause of that problem. And the way we can rectify it is by devotional service, taking to the process of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. So we'll summarize: repeated birth is a problem statement, and long cherished desires to own and enjoy material nature is the root cause. In subsequent chapters, Krishna repeatedly highlighted the importance of hearing from authorities, leading one to take up the process of sadhana bhakti sincerely and with commitment. Why sincerely is inner mood. What is sincerity? Sincerity is my inside mood. Inner mood is called sincerity. I cannot show sincerity outside. But uh, but sincerity is my inner attitude, in the inner mood. Commitment is are outside. Commitments are outer actions which I perform. And when I, in with sincerity, when I perform, when I act in the outer world, I please Krishna, I please devotees, I make devotees happy, I make Krishna happy. Because, and that's what Krishna has recommended chapter after chapter. We saw in the initial phase of the verses that 13th chapter is concluded by the same message, 14th chapter is concluded by the same message, 15th and 16th chapters are also concluded by the same message, and Krishna will conclude 17th and 18th chapter also with the same message, so that the reader of Bhagavad Gita leaves with no confusion कि करना क्या है. They should know this, and by knowing this they should get engaged in performance of bhakti yoga wholeheartedly. So sadhana bhakti, so hearing from authority leading to one taking up the process of sadhana bhakti. Now sadhana, hearing with attention, with faith, that is one of the mode, and that's also part of the sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti also includes hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Hearing and chanting should facilitate what? constant remembrance of Krishna. It should facilitate constant remembrance of Krishna. Even while performing our prescribed duties, we should remember Krishna. Even while cooking, we should perform. We should remember Krishna. Even while working in our workplace, we should remember Krishna. We should have a picture of Krishna in front of us. We should know why we are doing what we are doing. We are doing this work so that we can take care of our family, so that all of us can perform devotional service nicely. And that is a motive. Then the work, with work, whatever money I get, some portion of it I use for service of Krishna. Then my money, my job, my efforts get spiritualized. That becomes devotional service. So this is the conclusion of all scriptures. Bhagavad Gita says this, Bhagavatam says this, Chaitanya Charitamrita says this, Ishopanishads will say this, Nectar of Instructions will say this, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion will say this. All the revealed scriptures which are available today in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya will tell this. Or even if you study all four Vedas and the Vedantas, the conclusion will be this. But it is made easy by by providing the entire message of all the Vedic wisdom in one Bhagavad Gita. So even if you study one Bhagavad Gita, you will come to the same conclusion, and that is sufficient. So, and not only uh, so this conclusion is not our conclusion, is not only Srila Prabhupada's conclusion. Many Madhavacharya, who has been exalted, extremely intelligent person, they have accepted this as their conclusion. The the Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they were working in the prime ministerial and finance ministerial positions in the kingdom of Nawab. They are extremely learned brahmanas. They have accepted this conclusion, and they are accepted it, they are recommending it, and they are successfully following the same path as well. So they just don't say that I accept it, I endorse it, but they themselves follow it as well. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he appeared in the form of a divine devotee, he discussed Krishna Katha all his lifetime with his close associates. So he showed by practical example how we should perform bhakti. And hence everyone, all these great personalities have accepted this path, have recommended this path, and have successfully followed this path. And hence, without any doubt, we should also accept this path and try and follow it to the best of our ability, by hoping to get mercy from devotees and Lord, in our endeavor to follow this path. So that should be our sincere commitment and wholehearted practice of Krishna consciousness, without looking here and without looking there for other options. और कुछ attractive दिख रहा है क्या, और कहीं shortcut है क्या, यही shortcut है. This is no other shortcut available. Prabhupada reduced 64 rounds to 32 and then 32 to 16. There is no acharya who is going to say that 8 rounds are sufficient. That facility is gone. Now 16 round is what we will all have to live with. And 16 rounds, hence we should chant 16 rounds every day morning, getting up early in the morning with devotees. And we should eat prasad, we should associate with devotees, we should hear from devotees about Srimad Bhagavatam, about Srimad Bhagavad Gita, about Chaitanya Charitamrita repeatedly, daily, so that this message gets engraved in our consciousness. We don't forget this message, that Sat Asat Yoni Janmasu is our real problem, and desire to enjoy is our root cause, and we have to overcome both of them by performing devotional service to Lord Krishna. And that is the conclusion accepted by everyone, and we should also accept the same conclusion and practice Bhakti Yoga. The two facilities for performing hearing and chanting is chanting in the morning, hearing in the evening. Join these sessions and take full benefit of these sessions. And so we'll pause here for some question and answer. Just going through some clauses, some chat The gate is open for 9,500 years. Because what is saying, the jail gates are open for 9,500 years. So 500 years are over. So let's hurry up. Yeah, that's true. So let's, since there are no questions, let's end today's session. So next Sunday, unlike the most likely there will be no session. All of us will be in Vrindavan Yatra, and hope all of you are part of that yatra and will be able to see you, meet you in person in Vrindavan, and uh, go to various places with Baba, Dinbandhu Prabhuji, and hear Krishna's pastimes, uh, uh, strengthen our desire, our attraction towards Krishna, and we'll sing, we'll chant, and we'll feast. These three activities we'll do, and we will hear Krishna Katha. So it will be great to we'll see you all in Vrindavan, and we look forward to meet you there. And until then, we probably will resume our discussion of this section of Bhagavad Gita from the Sunday later. So till then, all of you stay Krishna conscious, and those who are coming to Vrindavan, hope we all have great yatra, take great inspiration from Dinbandhu Prabhuji and other senior Vaishnavas whom we will meet there, and come back and perform sadhana bhakti with more conviction, more faith, and more diligence to attract more mercy from Lord Krishna and devotees. So with this, we'll end today's session. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Dandavad pranam.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad
Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.